Neelam. I thought I would jump on to my own Facebook page and see if we could get this going this way. This technology thing is so interesting, and I'm glad that you're learning along with me, because I quite often get lost in the details of clicking here and going there. So maybe just post Janice B. Quit Coach to your Facebook page, and people can join me here with my live video. I'm going to start talking about what I was going to say, and then if you decide you want to just share this on your Facebook page, that would be great, and people can message me as well. So it's great to meet everybody by this virtual meeting on Facebook Live. I am Janice Burgess, and I'm a clinical pharmacist, a certified health coach, but most importantly, I'm a quit smoking coach, and that's I feel, as being a quit smoking coach, I am truly living my fulfilled purpose in life. I teach health and lifestyle coaches how to help their clients successfully quit smoking. And I also work with clients to support their plans to quit in a one-on-one program, or sometimes group sessions as well. I've been working in tobacco cessation for a really long time, over 10 years. And so I'd like to share a few secrets with you about what really works. Assisting clients to quit smoking is one of the most rewarding things I've ever done, even more rewarding than some of the pharmacy roles I've had. But I get to watch as my clients start to cleanse their bodies and feel amazing. I often get to see them reduce or discontinue some of their prescription meds. I'm working with a client right now who just lowered the dose of his diabetes pills because he has quit smoking, and he's doing so well. And I get to hear the pride in their voices as they talk about how great they are doing with their goals to get clean from tobacco. I've also trained over 1,000 healthcare providers in mostly in my province in cessation. And so over the years, I've tweaked the training so that it's really best practice in cessation, a combination of that and amazing transformational coaching techniques that really work. And that's the training I provide. It's all online training, and I can let people know about that if they're interested. So this makes the client really feel respected, because we're drawing out the changes they want to make, and they're also in charge of their personalized quit plan. And it allows the quit coach to kind of match their level of service with the client's readiness to change as well. So my clients were transforming before my very eyes. And this isn't because I know a lot about tobacco cessation, because I do, but it's because and it wasn't because I possess these amazing coaching skills, but because the client could see a clear path through to their tobacco-free life. And they suddenly start to believe in themselves, and they believe it's possible for themselves to, despite maybe past failures or even attempts to quit. So they start to see what's possible for themselves as a tobacco-free person, and they get to create new thoughts around how amazing they will feel by getting rid of this addiction forever. So I see Neelam's on. Hello. Anyway, I'm going to keep going if that's okay, but if you want to post questions on the screen, feel free. So I want to just go back a little bit, because my passion for cessation work came from a very painful loss in my life. Actually, my dad died when he was only 56 years old from lung cancer caused by his smoking. And I love my dad dearly. He was my confidant. He was my best buddy. I miss him every day. And so I really don't want this to happen to our friends, our neighbors, our loved ones. I don't want them to miss out on all the awesome things that are in store for them if they continue to live a long and prosperous life. My dad missed out on watching his youngest daughter get married. He couldn't walk her down the aisle. He missed out on watching his grandchildren grow up and enjoying retirement with my mom. And so it hurts my heart to think that other people are also losing their loved ones and friends and neighbors to the ravages of tobacco use. It just makes me sad. So enough about me. Let's switch things up, and I want to talk next quickly about the benefits of quitting. And there are literally thousands. When I'm working with a client, I'll often ask them to tell me how they would personally benefit from quitting. And many will say things like, oh, my health will improve, or I would have more money. And those things are completely true, but it's essential to go deeper with the client. They need to discover exactly what it is, what's in it for them. And if they're not able to clearly articulate the many benefits, specific benefits, I will often ask permission to tell them what some of the additional benefits could be, or that they could expect by quitting. So I'll just really say to them, would it be okay if I tell you some other benefits that I know of that would really likely occur if you're able to quit? Things like better control of their blood pressure or their diabetes. They might be able to lower the dose of some of their prescription meds. They might have better oxygen supply to their hair and skin even, so they'll wrinkle slower and their hair will be less brittle. If it's a woman in the middle of menopause, their hot flashes may decrease or be less severe. They would have a more successful surgery if they're due for even a dental procedure. And the money, well, where I live here in Canada, it's about $15 to $17 a pack. And so someone who smokes a pack a day would save over $5,000 in just 1 year. And that's huge. That's money that could go to some really important things for them to enjoy. And I can go on and on really just about the benefits, but all smokers and non-smokers are aware of the harmful effects of smoking. It's essential for us as coaches to kind of frame the quit process as a list of clear benefits to them so that they can focus on the positive. So they start their quit process in a positive frame of mind. Oh, yeah. I see Neelam's posting that she lost a young cousin due to lung cancer. It is so sad. It is so sad. I work with a lot of people with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And for them, it's almost like it's gone too far already. They can still see improvement in their lung function by quitting now and a reduction of some of their symptoms of lung blockage. But honestly, it's for them, it's limited, right? So we want to catch people before it gets to that point. But why do people smoke? Well, it's actually because they're addicted. Tobacco is one of the strongest addictions out there. It's more addictive than heroin. And so it must be treated as an addiction as well. Many people start when they're very young, and it takes really just 3 days of regular use as a young, low-weight person to become addicted. And over time, there are physical changes that occur in our brain so that we need to use tobacco more often and use more. So when someone lights up the nicotine gets to the brain in just 5 to 7 seconds, and there's really no other drug of addiction that gets to our brain as quickly. And it binds to those nicotine receptors and it releases dopamine, and that's what makes people feel good. So, and the nicotine is not what causes the damage to our bodies, but it is what keeps people smoking. It's all the other 4,700 chemicals that you find in a lit cigarette that cause the damage to our bodies. And 60 of those chemicals are known to be cancerous. So people smoke because they like the feeling they get from that dopamine, and they continue to smoke because they don't like the withdrawal, which happens in about 1 to 2 hours. And then already your brain's thinking, when's my next cigarette? So the other important thing to know about assisting someone to quit is that there are essentially 2 paths to take. So a client can choose to reduce to quit, or they can pick a quit date and smoke up to that day and then they're done. Drug therapy to quit smoking can also be layered on, but I always leave it up to the client. There are ways to tell if drug therapy might be useful, and that if the client needs to smoke within 30 minutes of waking up, they would likely benefit from drug therapy to quit. Now, these drug therapies don't make people quit, but they do help with cravings and withdrawal. And those are the 2 biggest reasons people slip or relapse to smoke again. When I'm talking about drug therapies, I'm talking mainly about the nicotine replacement therapy, the Zybad or bupropion or Chantix or varenicline, which you can buy by prescription. And I must mention that cytosine is also an option as well. It's very similar to Chantix and works in a similar way, but it's derived from a plant alkaloid. Now, there are other options out there, and it would take me a whole seminar to talk about all of the options, but But there's been 1,000 clinical trials on these particular drugs in use to help people quit smoking. And so we know they're safe and effective, but I always leave it up to the client. I provide them with information on what to do, what might be the best options for them, so that they can make an informed decision. But people who choose to quit without drug therapy on top are also just as effective. So reducing to quit can be just as effective as I mentioned. And there are some awesome strategies that can assist a client to reduce their smoking rather quickly. Here's just a few examples. They can draw a line on their cigarette and just smoke to that line and then put it out. By doing that, they can reduce their smoking by half or a third very quickly. Buying a brand that they don't usually like, smoking with their opposite hand, using matches instead of a lighter, increasing their mindfulness of each cigarette, not smoking in their car or home. Even not smoking in their car will make them 1.5 times more likely to successfully quit. For example, that 1 in the morning might be more necessary because they've gone all night without a cigarette. So I always encourage people to look at that cigarette before you light it up. Decide how badly you need it on a scale of 10. If it's a 10, just try to smoke a small portion of it. If it's 5, maybe you could live without it. It takes longer to smoke the cigarette than it does for the craving to pass. So what I want them to do is start focusing on making smoking unfamiliar and being tobacco-free feel familiar. And start thinking of themselves as a tobacco-free person. It's huge. That's very powerful. The mind does what it thinks we want it to do. And this is a powerful strategy. So what happens when someone comes to me to quit smoking? Well, the first session with the client is all about listening, and I collect information. And then I provide curated information back to them that fits with their needs. I like to get them started on their personalized quit plan. But another thing I've discovered is that everyone's journey to quit is different. There might be similarities between quit plans, but each plan is distinctly different. What worked for me might not work for someone else. And it is the client choosing their best chance at success by filling out this quit plan that will fit with them, that's doable. Now, not everything they try will work. That does happen, but it allows us to work together to download what does work and to reset what doesn't, and then adjust and start again. I also like to explore the client's big motivating factor for quitting. We do an anchoring exercise. In the second session, we'll usually review what's going well and coach around any challenges. And then we will do a session where we breathe pleasure into being tobacco-free. Session 3 is all about self-sabotage, and it always shows up. So I want a client to be able to identify it when it does present, and also want them to know how to squash it when it appears. So this could be self-sabotage they create themselves, or it could be also something external that comes along. So I just want them to be able to say, oh yeah, Janice said that might happen, identify it, and then say, I'm not going to believe that that's true. Life gets to feel too good, and that becomes scary for them. So some of the most common self-sabotage reasons are desiring acceptance, or I've been good, I deserve a smoke, which is totally not true. And things like I'm bored, or they're not being very mindful of their smoking, or something always seems more important than quitting someone else's issues. So I just want to break for a second there. Neelam has asked, I have a mixed group for energy, healing, wellness, and support. Do you think energy clearing like Reiki, EFT along with proper coaching will help? Oh, definitely. I partner with a hypnotist when we do group sessions sometimes. And so we combine some of that. But you know what? I always encourage health coaches of any kind to partner with other coaches who can provide something that you're not equipped to provide, like the Reiki, like the EFT. Tapping for cravings is awesome. It works really well. And what Valerie, the hypnotist I work with, does, we do a session. So we would do the big MOFA and anchoring, and then she would enhance it with hypnotherapy. So it works so well. And there's so much healing that has to go on. There's a lot of emotions that go into smoking. And I'll talk about that next, actually. There are a couple of other things that are key to the client's success. And one is understanding their brain is addicted, and the brain will tell us things that might not be true to get us smoking. So I often will get the client to say the same. Is it true? Is it really true? How am I acting because of how I am thinking? And if I were to change how I'm thinking, how would I be acting? So also, if they are using cigarettes to deal with an emotion like stress or anger or fear, they definitely need the healing we can provide them, that you could provide them, Neelam, in this group. And they're missing an opportunity to discover what they really need. And so this is what we want to explore with them. It's not always a negative emotion either. So sometimes people associate smoking with a positive emotion. And it's important for them to realize that there is nothing in that cigarette that reduces stress. And in fact, the up and down levels of nicotine can cause the body stress. So it's important for people to have the right facts and strategies to deal with whatever the brain is telling them so they can analyze whether it is true or not. So that's my role, is to make them, not make them, but to support them to know what the answers are. Next, in the sessions, we want to celebrate their new baseline and work on more healing. And this, again, is key for your group, Neelam, because this is where we could really also lay in some real healing foundational pieces as well. And we want to work on their next health change challenge, the next thing they want to achieve. So maybe they quit smoking and then next they want to lose some weight. I always tell people, let's work on the smoking first. They would need to gain 100 pounds of weight to have the same harmful effects as smoking. And so I try to encourage them to work on a challenge that's going to have the largest impact. Not that losing weight won't for some of them, but we want to get them healthy first and then breathing easier so that they can maybe exercise more, or they can change some of the other behaviors for themselves. Successfully quitting honestly confirms their ability to achieve their goals and gives them increased confidence too. I see that all the time. Follow-up is also required. It's all part of this program to improve success, and the needs of different clients can be different. For example, a new mom who quits because she's pregnant, she might need more follow-up at, say, 6 months to a year than right after she quits, because the baby will be born. The nurses and doctors will come along and say, hey, this baby looks so healthy. It looks so great. It's doing well. And then that might be when the mom thinks she's in the clear to start smoking again. So she might need follow-up later on after the quit. But for most people, follow-up is very front-loaded. So I like to talk to them on their quit day, a couple days after, and then once a week for as long as they need me, even just to make sure they're still on track, just to make sure that self-sabotage hasn't worked its way in. And there's lots of checking in just to make sure they will succeed, to keep them on track. So in closing, smoking is a global issue, and I really, really appreciate your time and attention. Thank you, everyone. Hi, V. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce your name, but that's how I'm pronouncing it today. So it's just been awesome to connect with you people. Love it. Love it. Thank you for joining me. Quitting smoking may not be a sexy topic, but it's very impactful. It's a great way to support big results and improvement in our health, in our clients' health. And everyone wants to feel amazing and healthy and vibrate at a higher frequency. And I love that we're all working in this area. Thank you. And I would love to take any questions if you have any now. I'll just hang out for a second. You can just type them in if you have any. Or thank you for inviting me. It was my honor to join you, ladies. I'm very excited to finally figure out how to work this technology someday. In closing, I'll let you go, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.